Well, you guys, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Been battling different things over the past 2 weeks, getting a little break, resting up our batteries. It's good news that nothing happened in the past 2 weeks, right? Right, Preston?
Yeah, I know, right? Not a damn thing.
Maybe a couple things, and we're gonna get into those right now. But I just kind of, again, this is your guys' show. It's a call-in show. Same rules, same everything, except for tonight. We're gonna try what we did last time. Also, first maybe half hour or so, Preston and I are going to break down the events, especially since we've been off for 2 weeks. There are some things we do want to hit on. But one thing I'm gonna be asking you guys, if you're lining up in the call queue, think about this one. I want to know how good this defense could be. I got a feeling this defense is going to have to carry USC in some of these big games this year. So I want to know from you guys, how good could this defense be? By now, we all know that D'Anton Lynn is now coming back. Shows a couple of things. We'll talk about that. Shows a commitment that USC, that Jennifer Cohen and Lincoln Riley have made that commitment to the defensive side of the ball. That's clear. At this point, that's clear. If you don't have that by now, I don't know what to tell you. But they're going to be carrying this team. Adding Rob Ryan, again, a name that just comes out of nowhere. That's why whenever there's, from now on, I'm dead serious. If there's a precedent, if there's like a coaching carousel, and we're trying to figure out who's going to fill a slot, and it's for USC, I'm not going to guess anymore. All I am going to do is know that a quality candidate is going to come through the door. And that quality candidate's a guy with over 30 years of experience in the NFL, being a part of that famous defensive family, the Ryan family, is joining USC. And then we have other stuff. I want to talk about that video you had about fans freaking out over Longstreet, and a couple other things. Connor Morissette over at USCFootball.com had a really nice article. If you guys have their premium, it is a premium article. Go check it out. He talked about how the guys that left last year, how they fared in their season. Maybe the grass is greener.
That was great.
For some, but not for many. He did a great job breaking that down. So make sure you check that out if you do have their premium account over there. There was a bunch of way too earlys coming out. So the theme of the show is going to be way too early. I want to know a way too early prediction on how damn good this defense could be. I want to hear from you guys is, what do you think that their points per game scoring average is going to be? We knew it was going to come down just organically because we're in the Big Ten and we've seen those offenses now. And there's nothing scary about the offenses outside of Ohio State. Really not a lot of scary offenses. But that being said, Preston, where do you want to start this with? Because there's a lot of topics, but I want to hear what you want to hit first.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start with the fact that, I woke up this morning, I went on Twitter, man, and I saw good old Coach Lincoln Riley at my old high school in Phoenix, Arizona at Brophy College Prep. And I was like, yeah, what is Lincoln Riley doing over here at Brophy Prep, right? I mean, this is a school that I went to, and we've got some talent over here at Brophy Prep, right? Larry Fitzgerald's son, Devin Fitzgerald, at wide receiver, class of 2026 wide receiver, 3-star prospect currently. Donovan McNabb, his son, is also over there playing wide receiver, class of 2027. You got Darren Sharper's kid, Dalen Sharper, at the safety position, defensive back over there. And then you got Kyle Vandenbosch, his son, at linebacker over there. So that was cool. And he's looking for something over there. So that's been a talented program out there in the state of Arizona. So I'm happy to see him continue to make his efforts across the West Coast. And I think we can get into Ryan, right? How important and how much he can affect this linebacker core and this defense as we move forward.
Let's stay on the recruiting really quick, because I want to hit your mind on that. So Arizona, you guys, for those of you who are casuals out there, Arizona over I don't know 5-ish years, 6 years, you've really seen, Preston, like Arizona start cranking out some high quality prospects. I mean, you had Deuce Robinson recently, right? They came through, USC. And every year there's elite defensive linemen. I'm not talking about the ones that go up to. We're not talking about the Oregon ones, but we're still talking really about guys that have given USC a look. And when you look at Arizona, you look at the Las Vegas area. Those are two places that usually just from the demographics shifting here in Southern California, a lot of families have moved out. First it was the Inland Empire. Now they've moved farther again into Vegas and into areas of Arizona.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And I remember when I was in high school, Devon Kennard, right? Came out of Arizona, man. I think he was the #1 player in the country that year, if I'm not mistaken. Straight baller out of Arizona, man. It's definitely an underrated football state. So some big time programs. You look at Hamilton out there, obviously Brophy, Basha. There's definitely a few programs out there that do a good job on a yearly basis with generating college talent. So yeah, man, definitely a place you could pick up talent and a place that coaches are going, man, because there's a lot of big offensive linemen, defensive linemen, quarterbacks, and skilled position players out there. So yeah, gotta keep that up.
Yeah, Elijah Page, also a guy, an Arizona guy. You have Anthony Lucas, right? Isn't Anthony Lucas also?
Yeah, Anthony from Chaparral. Yep, Chaparral.
So he's in Arizona. I mean, the talent. So the talent is there. The talent is there, and you're seeing this staff get out there. But another thing you've been seeing is hitting the local. Like it just seems like they've really been hitting social media, getting that media presence, maybe to kind of dispel this myth that they're not hitting LA and not recruiting LA and Southern California and California like they should. But it appears like they're actually putting more of an effort towards it this year. Obviously, looking at the 26 class. Most of those guys are high-level defensive backs and wide receivers from the local area. A lot of California guys that really has been California-centric. So, exciting times in recruiting. But this is not that show. If you want to see more about recruiting, make sure you get over to Preston. Go check out his site.
Let me for those that don't know, USC football staff has visited 164 California high schools in these first 2 weeks. So those are the numbers on that they've been getting around to in terms of high school recruiting, particularly in the state of California.
And I try to teach patience to a lot of fans over the past 3 years. Getting excited and wondering why are we going into Texas? Why are we in Georgia? Why are we in Louisiana? Why aren't we recruiting the local schools like we should? And I try to say to them, well, who on this staff is a California guy, And then people push back. They go, oh, well, Lincoln Riley had Nelson, Raleek Brown, but of course there were elite 5-star guys that wanted to play in Lincoln Riley's system that he was coming out and cherry picking. But it's not like he had established like really big relationships with the schools out here. Most of his relationships were in Texas, right? Well, pretty much Texas. And so we saw a lot of recruiters come on as well. It was that Doug Belk, that kind of that Georgia kind of connection, so you saw a lot of that going on. So I think this is year 2 for this defense. This is the 3 years now of recruiting, because that first year we didn't count. 3 years of recruiting for the entire team now, the coaching staff. And they've established those roots. And remember also, it's not just the coaches having established relationships with the prospects, but you also have to remember that these prospects have established relationships with coaching staffs that have been around the area as well, a little bit longer than USC has had. So they have established relationships. USC is just kind of trying to break in. And I think now this year, I think you're starting to see a lot of the fruits of that in this 2026 class.
Yeah. And I want to respond to this from Trojan Fight. Shouts out to Trojan Fight. I understand, man. Like it doesn't matter unless you get the guys to sign, but I have to highlight these things because we constantly do shows. I'm constantly on Twitter, people talking about, I constantly, like I talked about, parents hitting me up, complaining to me that USC coaches are not on campus at Mater Dei or at Bosco. I haven't seen the effort, and I've been seeing the effort. I've been seeing the photos. I've been seeing the visits that I haven't been seeing the past couple of years. So that's why I will continue to bring this up and continue to highlight, what I'm seeing in terms of what's been taking place right now. So, yeah.
Thank you guys all for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you. Light the Torch. You guys make sure you check out their stuff. Raul's here checking in.
Yes, sir.
Roy Banuelos, again, one of our longest and just ardent followers that we've had. Roy, thank you so much for being here. You're here almost every single show. Thank you so much.
I see Mike out there working out, man. Looks good. I see him out there on that field. Looks good.
I tell you what, I'm really wondering what is so. I think Mike could play at almost every position. I think where I want to see him though is one of the guard positions, but they keep talking about moving him around. But I want to see him push for some time now. I'm not saying the new guys. Everyone's telling me the new guys who are coming in are going to just those guys are going to be starters. I want to see them try to unseat young Micah Banuelos, the fire under his ass. I think he's going to give them a hell of a time. So really interested to see how that shapes up. Yeah, that guard position, I'm telling you, I think that's going to be one hell of a fight. And nothing better than have really healthy competition at that guard spot. So
For sure.
Looking forward to that one. Thank you, Dale. Dale's always also, he never agrees with me, but he's always here in the chat. Thank you, Dale. Appreciate you being here. Right on, fight on. Thank you so much. Christian Ragland. Okay, look.
Kristen.
Kristen. Sorry, there I go again. Maybe that's why you never see. He only comes when you're here, Preston. But when you're here, he's here in the front row. So probably because I don't pronounce his name right. Kristen, thank you so much for being here. Brian Jenkins, also thank you for being here. We got LV. Thank you, LV. How you doing? Make sure you go check out LV covering those New York Knicks. If you're in the hoops,
got two
LV as well. One of the best. Just go check it out. It's top quality. Even if you're not a Knicks fan, go check out my buddy LV. He's something special. But all right. Well, thank you guys all for being here. Most of you guys, if you're not subscribed, remember, most people that watch these shows aren't subscribed. Hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get 6,000. I think we're like 15 away or 16 away. So who knows? Maybe we could do it tonight. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like, and share with your friends. You guys tell them about us because we will be here when news breaks. Except for the past 2 weeks, right, Preston?
Yeah, man. The flu is a I'm not gonna curse, but the flu is, is bad, and the weather is terrible all across the United States of America, and it is tough when you work outside and you're outside. So yeah, that's all I can say.
All right, well, you wanted to talk about. I brought us back to recruiting. Let's go back there. I think that's a good segue. Moving in towards the defense and kind of getting our college primed for this, but USC went full in on D'Anton Lynn soon, and this is true. This is a true story. Right when the news broke, that Penn State was going to be looking for a new defense coordinator. When Tom Allen announced that he was going, I got a text from Gabe over at Trojan Blade. He's like, "Holy shit!" That's all it says is "Holy shit." And then I followed up with like, "What?" He's like, "Dude, they're going to come after D'Anton Lynn." And I'm like, "Who are?" I'm like, "He's all Penn State just lost Tom Allen." I'm like, "Oh my god." And so, Preston, I got to ask you. Remember, we had Lincoln say this. He said, everything I do from now on is going to be about defense. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap to keep D'Anton Lynn. But what he established in year one and what we can do in year two was super important. I just really do believe that the university just stepped up and said, we're not going to lose you. And I wonder what that bump in pay was, because it must have been pretty substantial.
Yeah, man. I saw the murmurs before it was like an official thing, and I was already pissed off. I was already sick, and I saw the murmurs. I was like, I'm not even thinking of this idea of D'Anton Lynn leaving the program. I didn't even want it to permeate within my brain. I didn't want to take it on as a possibility. I was just like, they're going to figure it out. And thank God they did figure it out. Because, hey, man, night and day. Like, night and day when you talk about tackling, when you talk about being able to get a stop when you need it. When you talk about just, obviously, we dealt with bumps and bruises and, weren't consistent enough, but we're much more consistent than we've seen this defense be in the last, 3 years. And, yeah, big time signing, man. In terms of, I get anxiety because the guy leaves, then, the recruits leave and the players on the team transfer out because they wanted to play for him. And it's a whole, it can get into a tumbleweed kind of effect there. But extremely important, and I believe and trust in Lincoln Riley that he said he wants to have a defensive staff. They're gonna play defense there. They're gonna play good defense at USC, and it's happening, man. Things are getting serious, and I love to see it.
Yeah, and nothing's been. If you remember, and I won't talk about the previous time, but if you remember some of those previous USC administrations. And the way we used to hire it, none of it ever made sense. Like, it was always piecemeal. There was no like plan and thought to it. But it really just seems like this, this administration, this coaching staff, there's really a lot of thought that goes into a lot of these hires, and it really has to do with fit and scheme. And that brings us to linebacker coach. We're all kind of wondering what's going on with the linebacker coach. We thought, okay, here's the portal period. We know USC does need linebacking depth, some veteran linebacking depth. We have some really solid, unproven or slightly proven young men that could be really special. We got a little taste of it last year, Preston. Desmond Stevens flashed and shown that looks like he's going to be he's going to be a guy. Mm-hmm. Jaden Walker out of Michigan, I think he could be something special. Again, is he going to put that size on? Is he going to take that next step? But we're going to need, some depth, because Eric Gentry, when he's on the field, is often the best player on the damn field, on either side of the ball sometimes. But he's also shown, just because the way he plays 150 miles an hour, that he's also injury prone. And I don't want to put that label on anybody. And this is a year. I know he's going to stay healthy the entire year, but until he does, you really kind of have to sit there and wonder, can we rely on an entire year of having him there? And if he went down again, we're in the same situation we were when he went down early in the season last year. It just seemed like the defense, that way he was like that spark that really had, he causing trouble in the backfield. You know what I mean? And once he was out, it just seemed like that pass rush disappeared with him.
And you talk about it like you've mentioned before, like having that chess piece, right? And moving that chess piece around. And he was kind of all over the place. You saw him, on the edge. Sometimes you saw him, stop the run, gets to the passer, create turnovers. And it was super important, man. I'd like to see a little bit more depth in the linebacker room. We'll see how that shakes out as time goes on with the spring coming up and whatnot, the various portal windows. But, I mean, also at this point, with what this kid just did, I don't even think the portal matters anymore. I think you could just transfer regardless without even entering the portal. But, like bringing in Rob Ryan, man, it's unbelievable, man. Wealth of knowledge, wealth of experience, coach all types of players, from Hall of Famers to, scout team guys, has great energy too. Just a hard-nosed guy, but also a fun guy at the same time. So that's why I think, him and Rex Ryan, kind of the same personality. And then, having that relationship, man, your father being Buddy Ryan, man, and having all those stories and the respect that his players and Mike Singletary and all those guys talk about Buddy Ryan, like it's unbelievable, man. It's football royalty, and just amazing. I mean, the connections that Rob Ryan has, the relationships that he's built. I mean, he's can guide these kids, to the promised land because he's been there and he knows what it takes and he knows what it looks like. And I'm super excited for them to have the opportunity to get coached by, a guy like this.
Yeah, anybody's been around my 3.5 year ride here on YouTube knows I love to harken back always to, and I didn't realize we'd have this connection, but I always talk about, when I talk about defense, they're not the 85 Bears. Well, now we have that connection, right? We got Buddy Ryan's 85 Bears. And now we have Rob Ryan as our linebacker coach. And it just goes back to you're the son of a coach, Preston. And being around that level of that just high level of coaching acumen, it rubs off. I can imagine the average conversation normally wasn't about what was on TV that night. It was usually about, it was probably about football to some degree at some point. And just having those constant conversations and being in a family like that, and then being in the NFL for and college football, but for 30 plus years being a coach at the highest level. I mean, we have two guys. Not only this is what I want to talk about. The one ding that you get on D'Anton Lynn is that he's young, which is stupid because there's so many young coordinators, there's so many young coaches in the league now that glass ceiling, you have to be 45, 50 years old to get to a coordinator or a head coaching position. It's been gone for years. But there is something to be said about having, been there and done that before. And I think that Lincoln Riley really, I believe, I don't have any evidence of this, really probably got some good insights from Coach Entz, although we always try to think about the fact that Lincoln Riley's been around for a while. Relatively, he's still a young man, just turned 40, So, he can learn things. He can pick small things. How do you do this? How did you do this? How did you do this when you're preparing? How did you run your practice? How did pregame, et cetera, walk through? There's little pieces. I think that this pickup is really good for D'Anton Lynn because it's just yet one more person that he can kind of pick their brain. Because now you have Doug Belk, who was a DC. You have Rob Ryan, who was a DC. And D'Anton Lynn, and you have all these guys working in the same room preparing for an offense. I think that bodes very well for USC's defense.
Yeah, and with Rob Ryan, familiar with that Ravens scheme, but because of the experience that he has and all the people he's been around and all the scenarios and situations and game planning that he's done, throughout his years and years of coaching college and NFL ball. he can give you a different perspective on a look, give you a different perspective on a scheme or a matchup, or oh, maybe this kid's not an edge, maybe this kid's a linebacker. You know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe this kid doesn't need to be a linebacker, maybe this kid needs to be a safety or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much knowledge that that you could have just being around the block that many times, and it can't be bad for us at all. I think it's going to be a great thing.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, he was also part of those Patriots teams that won 2 Super Bowls, so he knows how to win at the highest level. There's that layer to all of this. Another USC connection. He coached William against probably. Well, he's an outside linebacker, but I mean, he the same defense. You guys remember the Arizona linebacker, and in the NFL, Teddy Bruschi also. So he's going to be able to, along with Coach Nua, especially Coach Henne, talk about that NFL development. And, if USC, let's just say, because we go back and forth on this whole thing, where are we in the NFL game? So let's say we're a notch behind the Ohio States, a notch behind the Oregons, a notch behind A&M and I don't know, Miami, right? So we're just a little bit behind some of these programs, but you sell the ultimate prize. You say, that's great, you can go over there, but what is their NFL pedigree? Well, sure.
Who's coaching you?
What's that?
Like, who's coaching you over there? Yeah.
Yeah, development, right? Because the ultimate goal, I mean, whatever this NIL, it's nothing compared to your rookie contract if you're a first, second rounder. It's just not going to be. So are you willing to trade in a couple $100,000 now for the opportunity to be developed by, again, proven NFL coordinators and position coaches? I just think that's something now USC really can lean into. They've been able to do. They've been leaning into that for a while. Development. That's the big word they've had. Development. I'm now excited about the fact you're adding another piece, because if you're going to have one knock on Coach Entz, it might be, like, how many guys has he gotten into the league? Well, it's because he's starting at the FCS level. But now that again, that's just one more level that USC can push ahead to when you're in the living room of parents and saying, it's up to you. What do you want to do? Do you want to go over to this guy? He'll play PlayStation with you. He'll text you every single night, and they'll give you $150,000 more. Or do you want this guy who, well, coaches Hall of Famers? I mean, which room do you want to go into as you spend the next 3 to 4 years of your life getting ready to get your ultimate goal? I'm not saying that'll work with every person, but you know what? The ones, Preston, that want to get to the league are the guys that we want. And I think that story, while it may not be the entire selling point, I think will play very well. If I was a young man, or if my son was playing football, and I had someone like a Rob Ryan come in and say, hey, listen, I think your son's got NFL talent. This is what I want to do. This is how I see him in our defense, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It'd be a hard sell for someone else not to be able to someone else to steal him away in that situation.
Yeah. And it's an individual situation at the end of the day, their decision. But to be honest with you, man, I feel like we got it all. Like you got the experience in restaurant, but we have some great young, energetic coaches that are gonna, relate to these kids and bring them in. And it's a team effort, man. A lot of people are talking about the recruiting. Oh, this guy's old. This guy's been in the NFL. He's not gonna be able to recruit. Man, we got all the tools we need to recruit. Like, I believe it. Like, in terms of like NIL and all that stuff, I've stepped away from that. I don't got the answers for that. And there's got just continue to keep proving me wrong, man. Just let's keep guys, let's bring in talent, let's keep the talent that we have here, and then everybody will be happy with NIL. But in terms of recruiting and the type of staff that this is, man, I think hands down best defensive staff in the country. When you talk about experience, when you talk about the ability to develop and just the experience teaching the game.
Yeah, well, you brought up young coaches. You have Bryson Allen Williams, who Coach Baugh, who is there. He was there with Coach Entz, and I'm not going to make assumptions, but I really hope that he's still at USC to help USC make this transition as well, because he's exactly what you said. He's a young coach, very energetic.
Did hurt with Taylor Mays. That did hurt me, but I understand.
Going home to Washington, and let's face it. He wants to be a coach, and I think he's ready. Right? He put in his time. Yeah. And he's ready to coach. Yeah. Best of luck. best of luck to him going up to Seattle, right? He's gonna be at Washington, correct?
Yep, University of Washington. Yep.
So good luck to Taylor Mays. My favorite Taylor Mays story is I was at the salute to Troy with John Jackson, and I was talking, and Taylor Mays came over and started talking to John, and then there was a question. They were talking about who could cover. I don't know if you could cover me, and then I said JJ, this guy ran like a 4.34. He's a 4.2. He's a 4.2. And I was so scared shitless. Like, oh yeah, 4.2, yeah, whatever.
I was just about to say that. That's one of. I mean, obviously we watched him play and whatnot, but like I remember that combine, that Taylor Mays combine.
It's insane.
Like, look at this guy, man. This guy was like a defensive end. We're out there ran like 4.29 or something like that. Laser.
He's like the king of the freaks list. Preston.
Yeah, straight
that big. Whenever I think of him, I think of that hit in the Rose Bowl, the Penn State Rose Bowl, where he knocked out 2 dudes with 1 hit. I mean,
knocked out his own teammate in the Penn State. Yep.
And both those guys took a long time, a long time to get up. Hey, thank you, Roy. Really appreciate you. Let's go is right. This is gonna be a great season. And this is a time I'll get a little more objective, a little more down to earth when we see the final roster. But I see so many great pieces. I heard someone just the other day talking that we don't have depth. I just don't know what they're talking about. Sure, it's certain positions we don't. The one thing I think we're missing at certain positions is a depth of experience, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing that we may or may not have, but we have depth of talent.
For sure.
Maybe unproven talent at this level, but we do have some talented players. And if we're going to sit up here every week and talk about development, we're going to have to lean into that and believe in that. And I mean, show me a better coaching staff than USC has right now, because it is special, and it's hard to argue just the level of talented NFL pedigree mixed in with college guys and what they've done on both levels. It's kind of difficult to argue with that, but
yeah,
let me see.
Sure.
Okay, let's talk about your video.
Yeah, well, we could talk.
We got really excited last week.
Yeah, exactly, right. So, obviously, we had the Polynesian Bowl, Polynesian All-American game, whatever you want to call it. Hassan Longstreet, USC commit, going out there, throwing the ball 78 yards. Amazing. He's all cut up, shirt cut up out there. Had a great game, MVP of the Polynesian Bowl, threw a game-winning touchdown. Looked spectacular, man. Looked under control. It was dealing with some pressure in that game. It was an all-star game at the end of the day. It was an all-star game. But a lot of people, saw his performance. They're like, I want him to be the starting quarterback, man. I feel like, he's ready to be QB1. And me personally, man, I think Jada Maiava is the starting quarterback of this USC program, man. I believe in sweat equity. I believe, the fact that Jada Maiava went 3-1. Had some, ups, some ups and some downs, but I think it's gonna improve, this winter, this spring, and should be slated for that starting spot. And I'm excited to see him improve even more as we get into the season. But I personally believe that we need to win 10 games to keep Lincoln Riley at USC, to keep everybody's morale high, and to make the playoffs next season. And I can't put that on a freshman quarterback, man. I don't know when the last time a true freshman quarterback won 10-plus games in college. Somebody can look that up. I know Johnny Manziel won 11 as a redshirt freshman back in the day, but it's tough, man. He's got to learn how to be a student, learn how to live on his own, and become a college athlete. So that's a lot to ask, and leading the team, as a true freshman is a tough thing to do. So I don't know. That's just how I'm feeling on it. How do you feel?
But he threw the ball 78 yards. So that means he's the next John Elway, right? Right? I mean, no. Okay. Yeah. I'll think it's like, yes, precisely. He has an amazing arm. And look, I'll tell you what, I was, because I've seen him a couple of times. I went up, and it was rough watching him go up against that Mater Dei team in the playoffs, because that really wasn't. He didn't get to showcase his abilities at all. Mm-hmm. But he, without pads, he looks the part already, of a collegiate quarterback. Like we just said, I was joking, but I mean, hey, you could throw a ball 78 yards. You could throw a ball 78 yards. I think what we're seeing here is Jaden Mayava has a huge cannon as well. Great arm. But how quickly is he going to pick up the college game? I don't think people realize that. Again, another thing, speaking of John Jackson, he said to me one time, he's like, people just don't realize the jump from high school to college.
Yeah.
I mean, especially as a quarterback, those passing lanes get smaller, those windows get smaller. That whole shot looks tiny, in college, in high school, you make that all day. It's just wide open, right? But then it just shrinks. The timing speeds up. The defense is disguised. It becomes so much more cerebral, right? So Jaden got here late in the spring last year, right? And I'll stand by. I've been critical of him, not in the fact that I think he's not a good serviceable quarterback. I think he flashed. I think he has a lot of talent. I need to see him take that next jump, and I thought he might towards the end of the season, and it just didn't seem like he didn't quite get there. But he has an entire offseason right now.
Mm-hmm.
And although he's not a young quarterback, he was inexperienced at this level. He's only had, and Miller Moss had the luck of having Lincoln Riley for 3 off seasons. He had him for an abbreviated 1 off season, and really didn't run with the ones. He's kind of got thrown in there towards the last third of the season. So I think we should hold off with him being the savior. I think we should hold off with people jumping off the Jaden. It's so funny. All the people are all over Jaden Mayava. And, no, he's definitely going to be a starter. Everyone jumped off the wagon last week. It was the weirdest thing I ever saw. It's like, let's just steady the flow, you guys. I don't care what side of the fence you're on, but just slow down and let the kid, one way or another, get some time to show what he could do. All right. I think that's the case. I said it last season. I got crucified for it. I haven't seen it from him yet. I don't see what everyone sees. We were told that he was going to change the running game. He's going to be like a not a dual threat, but he's going to be able to take off and run with the ball. He's way more athletic. Miller was a statue, etc. I heard all that stuff all last season. I didn't see it from Jaden. I saw flashes of being great. Then I'm like, oh, there were like tons of those moments as well. So I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm saying I'm really hoping he puts it all together. And you know what? Having his entire offseason with Lincoln Riley, that's probably a pretty good way to do that. So let's wait and see. It likes to be who knows? We might have a quarterback controversy in the fall.
It's so funny to me, man, because like I tweeted this out not too long ago. Man. I went from defending Miller Moss to getting crucified by Mayava supporters to defending Mayava and Mayava supporters. People that were crucifying me are now on Mayava's ass saying, "Oh, we don't want him to be the quarterback." So I stick. How I look at it, I stick with the guy, man. The last guy that was a quarterback. That is my allegiance as a fan. I'm rooting for him. But regardless, man, if Hussam Longstreet comes in there, I want him to be the best, man. I want these guys to, be perfect, man, and win Heisman's and win championships. So I'm wishing for the best, and but we'll see what happens. Not a terrible problem to have though, with some young talent and a guy that has done a little bit of stuff himself. So it should be good.
Yeah, I'm sticking with where I am. If I'm going to sit up here and tell you people that Lincoln Riley is that guy when it comes to quarterbacks, then I can't just turn around and say that he doesn't know what he's doing when he's putting the best quarterback out there that gives the team the best chance to win the game. And that's literally all I think he did last year.
Yeah.
There's a lot of controversy after people saw the last 3 games of the season. Like, really was that the important move? Was that the right move? Was he a scapegoat, etc.? There's a lot of people saying that stuff. Here's what I'm going to say again. If Lincoln Riley thought it was the best move, he's at practice. I'm not. You're not. None of you are. So let the coach and the coaches and Luke Heward, the guys that work with them every day, let them decide who should be behind center, because it's fun, but it's also a bit silly sometimes. And can we stop waffling though? If we're gonna do this whole thing, pick your dude and stick with them. Don't start flip flopping. You just stick with your guy. That would be interesting in the YouTube space for once. If people had a thought and stuck with it, because
yeah, man,
it's almost like Teflon. Nothing sticks.
Exactly. Stuck in Miller Moss for 9 games, man. Can I give Jaden 9 games? I stuck in Miller Moss for 9 games. That's how I look at it. I think it's only fair and right.
Oh, it'll play out. And by the way, just so you know,
Yeah.
Do you know the favorite, especially if USC struggles out? I don't mean lose, just struggles on offense. The favorite player of the team, I said it last year, is the backup quarterback. Because everyone goes, "Oh, we just switched quarterbacks and we're going to the playoffs, right?" And it's going to happen next year too.
Yeah.
There's going to be some tough games as we get to maybe game 7. Well, no, sorry, game 5, game 6. Illinois is going to be a tough game, folks. I don't think people realize that.
Mm-hmm.
Altmaier,
every game is going to be a tough game. My mentality as a fan has changed completely, man. I was like baptized last season in the Big Ten. I'm looking at everything as a war. There will be no easy game, and I have no predictions on what's going to happen, man. But I feel pretty good, if that makes sense. So
it does. We could talk about quarterbacks. So I just said that this is a good segue. I talked about how Lincoln Riley is the quarterback whisperer. And I heard a really, really good segment from Mark Culkin today. And all the people that I talked to and listen, whenever I bring up Mark Culkin, talk about a polarizing person. It's like, I mean, I'll tell you this. Let me tell you a little short story about Mark Culkin before I go any further. I was brand new to the USC football beat. I didn't know where the hell I was going. I don't know what I was doing. It was my first game covering a basketball game. He just looked at me. What look at me? This guy must be lost. And he pulled me aside and just gave me the whole run, Preston. He didn't have to do that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So he might come off a little bit gruff, on this, but it's just, to me, he's like one of the nicest guys I've met covering USC. So, but anyways, so I was listening on the way to work. I was listening to a segment he had, and he was just talking about, the quarterback. And the one thing he didn't think he'd ever have to worry about was the quarterback position. I've talked about this a number of times here on this show. If you guys listen to me, I was like, what's going on here? This is the one position I thought we'd have locked up no matter what. And it's true. And On3 has a top quarterbacks list, that they put out. And on that list, we don't, you would have thought that it would always be a Trojan somewhere in that top 10, especially with Lincoln Riley, someone in that top 10.
Yeah.
And they're not, man. In fact, they're buried pretty far down the list. I mean, now the list is hard to argue with. I mean, you look at some of these guys. I mean, a guy like Arch Manning, I don't know, he's at 4, but they must be going off of, because they have him ahead of Garrett Nussmeier. They got Arch Manning ahead of Garrett Nussmeier, and we saw Garrett Nussmeier play, man.
Is pretty good, yeah. Nussmeier,
you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's off the bat. That seems like something weird just to me. I mean, I know Arch has all the tools. He's a big guy. It's because he has the pedigree, the lineage, and stuff like that. But I mean, we watched Nussmeier make all the throws. I mean, I think that he's kind of proven himself. So seeing that kind of threw me. You can't see it up top, but you see Sam Levitt off the side here. He's the guy that has the number 1 quarterback going into 2025. But it's shocking.
Show them love. Yeah.
It's shocking that USC does not have a top 10 quarterback. Now, I don't remember, you guys. Was Miller Moss, was he listed the top 10 last year? Was he among the top 10?
I feel like he was in the mix on a certain list for sure, especially after that bowl game performance.
After the bowl game.
He got a little bit of love, not too much love, but he was getting some love early on in the offseason.
Yeah, Christian's on. I was just going to share this with you. So I wrote down the list of the other ones because I did
24. Okay.
I did look at the article. Yeah, so it's weird. So you got this little grouping. So we know that after Riley went after Dylan Raiola, he tried to circle back to get DJ Lagway. Now, I don't know if the ship had sailed anyway on DJ Lagway, but could anyone here imagine DJ Lagway in Lincoln Riley's system right now? Can you just imagine him playing in this system? I think it would just be, it would be illegal in some states. Like, we wouldn't be able to play in the Midwest. There's probably some Midwest states wouldn't let us play that level of offense with DJ Lagway at the quarterback.
Seems like it'd be
we missed on both of them.
Yeah.
But what you do look is a crunch here. So right behind, we played Luke Altmaier. I talked about him, hit Illinois. Again, that's going to be a tough. I've heard people talk, we're going to start out, we're going to run through the big universities. And that defense, Brett Bielema, he had year in, year out, that guy plays they play some nasty defense, and then their offense last year got firing. I mean, their offense was a joke. It literally was a joke. It was like Iowa level joke for a while there, but they really turned it around. But so they have Altmaier at 21, then Jada Mayava at 22, and then Dylan Raiola at 23, and then Miller Moss at 24. So you got a little clump of like 7 degrees of Lincoln Riley there. You know what I mean? You have Raiola, who he went after and missed. Then you got Mayava, who he currently has, and then you had Miller Moss that he didn't recruit, but he coached up. So it's rough to see that clump right at the bottom of the top 25 quarters, because again, like Mark Culkin said, and like I've been saying for a long time, all last year, it's like this is a situation I never thought we would have. And it got weird, and I will give a little bit of credit, because you did have Malachi Nelson, who was a 5-star guy. He gets hurt his senior year. He's never the same. It was kind of like why am I blanking out his name? I can see his face right now. Quarterback for SC hurt his elbow in the Iowa Holiday Bowl. Oh my goodness, guys! The Iowa Holiday Bowl. He hurts his arm. He's never the same again. Transfers out. Anyway, it's that same situation where someone just gets hurt. It changes their maquette. They start throwing differently, whatever. Slovis, thank you very much. Walker, thank you. Gosh, exactly. How quickly you forget when you get old. Just don't get old, people. Don't get old. There's never the same, Preston. They don't ever seem to be the same. And I think that was Nelson's fault. So I'll give him a little bit of a break for that. But so what? I mean, Lincoln's made his name in not getting guys out of the high school, but pulling guys in and through transfers. And I just don't know how we're going 2 years in where people are actually seriously considering now he's a 5-star. He threw 78 yards, but people are talking about starting a true freshman in Lincoln Riley's 4th year. It's kind of rough. It's something I didn't think. That's if you want to give me one big criticism of Lincoln Riley, it's that. So why don't we have quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback rolling in? So
yeah. I don't think he. Well, let me be careful how I say this. I think Jaden Mayava is going to be fine, man. I believe that we'll see an improvement, and I trust the process, man. Now, if things go haywire, then I'll be wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. but I think we all right, man. I feel good about Mayava. I really do. Especially if we play complementary football and don't have Mayava going out there throwing 50 times a game. If Mayava's out there throwing 50 times, 45 times a game, then things are probably going to go very badly for us next year. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But as long as that doesn't happen, I feel pretty good about having Mayava in there as a quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean, and I would love to be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm wrong often. I'm okay with it.
I'm wrong often too. It's okay.
So I mean, but I do think I did say I'm not waffling. I'm staying pretty consistent. I haven't seen anything yet. He is young. He's maybe just still figuring out the offense, all the bells and whistles. I don't know. No. I think a lot of the big problems is the pre-snap. When someone's hot, doesn't seem he picks up some stuff before, and it seems like he's a bit slow through his progression. That's just my non-coaching fan eyeballs, just kind of looking at it going, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Now, I said to you before the show, Preston, that Lincoln Riley knows what he's doing. This year is a very important year. If he was as worried about Jada Mayava as some fans are, he would have made a big move. They're not afraid to spend money. And although I know Mateer's coach went to Oklahoma. I know there are other guys out there. I know that there were big trades, but I mean, big money playing for Lincoln Riley. If they pushed all their chips in, they could have grabbed some. I'm almost certain of they could have grabbed somebody, but they didn't. Why? Because I think Riley does see what you're saying, Preston. He sees something in Jaden that makes him believe, because everyone knows this is a big year. I mean, shit, every year is a big year, especially when you have 2 back-to-back seasons where you're losing, 5 and 6 games. Every season, the eyeballs are on him.
Yeah,
he's getting hot. He's not getting fired, guys. He's not. Short of a catastrophic season next year, I mean, I think we're all on the same page saying 9-10. Anything less than 9-10 wins, I'm out. So I kind of am at that point. I'm out because I'm not saying this could be a big reload in the Big Ten. I mean, there's a lot of talent at Ohio State. You know, the Ohio State, Oregon are spend a lot of money to move in some pieces as well. We know that's going to happen as well. But it's not like anybody's going to be insane next year. So I don't think, looking at our schedule, that we should lose more than 2 games on that schedule. I can see it. I can see how it could happen. But I'm saying in year 4, expectation should be that we don't drop more than 2 games.
Yeah.
Believe me, they could. They most likely will, but not in year 4. They should not.
I think fear can creep in because you look at it and you're like, okay, last offseason, we believe in Miller Moss. We trust in Miller Moss. We say, okay, Will Howard, we don't need you. However that went be. Will Howard, Cam Ward, we believe in Miller Moss. Miller Moss is a guy. Took the gamble on Miller Moss. Didn't really work out. Even though I do love Miller Moss, I think he's a good quarterback, but didn't really work out. So you just hope that this offseason, you know, the right and correct decision is being made. And, you know, maybe not going after a Gronowski or, you know, a Mateer or whatever. And Maava is the guy, man. So we'll just have to wait and see. Only time will tell, but it'll be fun.
Where did Gronowski
end up? Going to Missouri. I don't even remember.
It was something like that, Missouri or something.
Yeah, I think he went to Missouri. Did he go to Missouri?
No, I mean, I don't know. Now I said it didn't sound right.
I'm gonna look at it.
Let's just cheat. We know somebody in the chats already said it. Iowa. Eric got. Thank you,
Iowa.
Eric.
Yeah, the black and yellow, black and gold.
Yeah,
Iowa.
So, I mean, I think if Riley felt that adamantly, and I believe you have to at this point believe in his ability to assess what he has, to see talent, to develop that talent. I think he saw that an investment in throwing that much money into a quarterback he feels will not be a significant upgrade over what he's going to get out of Jada Maava. And again, Jada Maava might come out next year, guys, and just blow the doors off this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He could.
Then everybody's going to be like, Tim, you were wrong.
You can remember what I said. I said, exactly, I haven't seen anything yet. You guys tell me right now in the chat, have you guys seen anything that showed that Jada Maava is the guy for next year and that we're fine? If you have, then more power to you. And if you want to come do victory laps, great. Because that means we'll be winning. And I don't care that much about being right. I'd rather win than be right. Believe me.
For sure.
Not even close. So if that's the case, that'd be great. I want to see it. I really, really, really want to see it.
For sure.
I don't know if the phones are working because we have not got one single phone call, which is pretty odd.
Well, let me bring this up before we get into the phone calls too. And then hopefully
we might just bounce because we don't have any calls.
Or yeah, we might bounce because we talked for 47 minutes. But yesterday, Reggie Bush comes out, says he could see himself coaching at the University of Southern California in the future, would like to be the head coach one day and win a national championship. What are your first thoughts when you saw that?
Where is he coached?
I think he's coached.
That was my first thought.
Maybe some Pee-wee.
My second thought was, you know what? I'll tell you what. Lynn Swann and Pat Hayden, amazing Trojans on the football field. Not so much we moved into a different, because they were never ADs before, and we decided to make them ADs. So now we'll make a GOAT running back into our head coach. I mean, hey, if he goes and he shows he could do it, yeah. But I mean, I don't think SC should ever be in a position where they're hiring Heisman Trophy winners to be their head coach. But I think it's cool in my generation. But as we talk about Preston a little bit, these kids were born when like Ray Maluga and Cushing were playing. I mean, they never saw Reggie Bush play unless it was on a film reel. And it's so funny when you watch those now. See, this makes us all feel old. It wasn't an HD at all. Yeah, you look at that stuff, it's so hard to even cut a video for it because it's so low resolution from the old cameras and the old TVs. Mm-hmm. Listen, I don't know Reggie's ability to coach. He might be a savant. I mean, who knows? Gonna have to see it at a high level first, though, right? This definitely can't be his second job or his first job. That would be crazy. And the thing is, what I'm glad about is it looks like USC finally has figured out we don't play that game anymore. We only get people that are highly qualified now, and I hope we never turn back from that.
Yep, serious stuff.
Your thoughts?
Yeah. I when I saw it, I thought of it as like I wasn't like hooray. I was like, this is like a future thing that I could see possibly going on, like deep into the future, maybe like at the 10-year, 15-year type of thing. If he, goes up, starts coaching his kids in high school, then spends some time at the college level, and then eventually, works his way into, coaching on the Power 4 level. But I mean, greatest college football player I've ever seen. Obviously, a great at USC, and it would be. There would be fun aspects to it, I believe, but I don't know if it'd be successful. So, yeah, that was just interesting. I saw that yesterday. I wanted to ask you about that. But, yeah, we could get in some callers if anybody has anything to say about what we spoke
This
on.
guy's working super hard. I mean, oh, no, that's the wrong one.
You're not right now.
I missed it. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, for sure.
We do have a call. We do have a caller. So we're gonna take some calls for a few minutes here, and then we're gonna move on. But let's try to stick to the topic if you guys could, though. I mean, we can talk about anything. It's your show. We'll hear anything, but I do want to hear from you guys. What do you think the ceiling on this defense is? I mean, because again, we didn't even break into it. I mean, maybe we can do that next week, because I hope no one gets me for clickbait, because I thought we were going to go a little more to the detail. But just again, we talked briefly about the depth. Right now, our zero technique, our interior defensive line, it may be one of the strengths of our defense now. It went from being literally the weakest part of our game to now a strength for us. So that's going to be something we could probably cover a little bit, maybe these phone calls. But hey, caller, hi, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Tim. My name's Steve from Vegas.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for calling in.
You got it, man. I watch you guys all the time. The first time calling in, heard you said you didn't have many callers, and I figured I got a few things to I guess, get off my chest. I appreciate the way you guys handle your show. You guys are always a little bit more positive than what I'm seeing pundits around. And I'm a USC diehard through the thick and thin, always have been. But I heard Jaywalk say something today, and he was talking about the more or less getting in the culture of USC to give Riley a chance. And I think there's a lot to that. I can see the moves that Riley's been making since he got there, other than the defensive coordinator. I think there's nobody that wouldn't agree on that. But trying to get the right kids there and coach the kids up the right way and build that culture that USC has lost since they got blackballed by the NCAA. I think that's a thing that they're still trying to rebound from. And then the coaching carousel that we've had over the years. I think we need to give Riley a little bit more leeway to keep building this culture, keep building the facilities, keep building the ground game of getting the right kids in there, schooling them up the right way, and to play USC football. And now he's done that with the defensive staff. And I think now they can really start digging in to build the culture, especially on defense. I think the one thing that we've been missing on defense is a number 55 for many years. We just haven't had that guy yet. And I'll throw it out to you. I've watched a lot of tape on Gus Cordova. A lot of people don't talk about him a lot, but that kid's got a motor. And he's only at 250 right now. Well, at least he was. And do you ever see a possible, or did anybody ever talk to you about thinking that he might get, or could, or should get moved into like the Mike linebacker at that size and the motor that he has?
I haven't heard him talk about that, but you're making a good point. He looked a lot like a Brian Cushing, which probably bump him outside a little bit. But I mean, what I would say to you is you just made Preston smile, because Preston and I were sitting backstage before we went live talking about, wait, is he an early admit? Is he a spring guy, or is he coming in the summer? Because I think for his development, I'm really hoping that he's going to be here. Anyone in the chat, if you guys know, let us know, because we've seen it both ways. We both looked up stuff, and it says both ways. But Preston, what do you think? You think bumping him inside?
Well, I think
does he have this? speed
Guys,
though.
I
The
can't
question is,
hear
does he
you.
have the speed though? You know what I mean? Because that might be your concern. I know he's a high motor guy. I know he's nasty and he's tough. He's quick. He's got good hands. I know all that stuff, but does he have that speed to play the mic? That might be your big question.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear anything since I asked the question. It was all garbled. Sorry.
That's all right.
I just heard you saying he may not have the speed, and he may not, and I don't know if he would be able to cover and passing or anything like that either. But I'm
Preston,
just looking at a guy with a motor.
Yeah, he's got the motor.
I'm looking at a guy with a motor,
but
and I think that, and then I've seen that kid. What's the kid from Oklahoma, Johnson? The recruit that's coming in.
Now you broke it for me. What was that?
The defensive lineman, Johnson. Is that his name? The kid from Oklahoma?
Oh, Jacobson, Cash.
Yeah, Cash.
Jacobson.
Yeah.
Cash, yeah. That kid, watching that kid, he has got a motor on him too. And I'm not just saying that, maybe not the Jakeem Stewart type of get off on the ball and stuff, but the stick-to-itiveness, keeping going on in the play, where you see some of these guys, the guy gets past him and they kind of slow down and they're not giving that effort every play. But watching a couple of kids like that, man, they got motors and they don't stop.
Yeah, I mean, Preston. So what do you think? I mean, we know he has the ability, the strength, the hands, the motor, all that. But is he quick enough to play? Is he gonna be able to move like Ray Malaluga?
I think Gus, the sky's the limit for Gus, right. Man. He's got to get comfortable. You got to get comfortable though to standing up. Being in that position. Looking at the call, looking at certain different things that you might not have been focused on when you're playing the end or you're playing an interior defensive lineman position.
Yeah.
But like I talked about with Rob Ryan, man, NFL guy with all this experience. With that, you can identify and be like, hey, maybe this kid could play at the linebacker position. I talked about this show, like he could bring guys, whether it's a Gus Cardova or a Cam Fountain or tons of people, man. Like these guys may be slated in at that linebacker spot. So that is something that kind of brings my anxiety down a little bit in terms of the linebacker spot, because we do have a bunch of ends, man. We have a bunch of edges. You got Jakeem Stewart, Cardova, you got Anthony Lucas, you got Cam Fountain, you got a lot of guys on that edge. So maybe
I just don't see any of those guys be on the play inside. If I'm going to say to you guys, I mean, it's an interesting idea, but I don't know. I'd say no, but hey, listen, I'm open to ideas. So yeah, it's good.
Well, I mean, I guess it's just me knowing out where we're weak on the inside as far as depth, and I don't know, just anybody else has brought it up, just wondering like something like that. It's just something I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I like it and appreciate, especially first time caller calling in, saying the day, because quite honestly, I think the days of the call-in show are going to go away because it doesn't seem like people want to call in anymore. So I think we're probably going to go to like a panel show from now on. The call-in show was fun for a while, but to me, to be honest, I love taking the calls. It's been fun, but I also like hearing from Preston. So I mean, it allows me to talk to Preston and hit up his ideas as well. But we'll see. We'll probably give another couple call-in show tries. But if we don't get the phones ringing again, we're probably have to hang up the phone line and move back to more of a traditional call-in show, Preston.
Closing up shop, man. Yeah,
anything else for you, Steve? Because I got to get Preston out of here. I promised him a 1-hour show.
No, we're good. We're good, guys. I just wanted to say hey, and I appreciate the way you guys talk about the Trojans and not jumping off a cliff every time something small goes on, and you see it with the pundits going on. It gets a little ridiculous.
As Paulie Walnuts,
you're a fan or you're not.
Paulie Walnuts likes to say, he's got to trust the process because look, so far everyone, it's great. It's not just USC football fans, right? It's Laker fans. It's just fans in general. It's like something bad happens. All of a sudden the sky's falling. Everyone starts freaking the hell out. And then all of a sudden out of left field, the savior comes in. You're like, oh, hey, wait a minute. This could actually be pretty good. That's part of being a fan. And I get it. And we're going to have a lot of that. And it's what makes these conversations fun. But at the same time, like for me, I got to tell you, there's some real burnout. There's some real burnout just hearing all of the, like, I don't mind people think that if you're objective, it means you got to be critical and negative. you could be objective and positive. You really can be. The two are, I've said before, they're not mutually exclusive. You could lean into the positive, you can lean into the negative, or you could just call right down the middle. But neither side has the advantage on what's objective and what's not. And I just think that even within our own fan base, that's why I like the spring, you guys. This is why you should get nuts and have fun with it right now. Once we get closer to the season and that roster, like I made the joke earlier in the beginning of the show, once the roster gets a little more solidified, once we see who, there are some position groups, I'm going to tell you, even being optimistic, Tim, we'll get into it definitely next week. So we're going to break down the defense in more detail. But there are some position groups where I like the players. I'm kind of worried. I'm kind of worried about what could happen. There are some very scary scenarios with our team, and we're relying on a lot of unproven talent. Although it looks great and we've seen some of it flash, you don't want to go into a season, Preston, with a lot of unproven guys starting day one.
Yeah. But we also have to, at what point do we start looking at these kids and saying, well, these kids are our future, and giving them that shot to develop, like actually playing, not just in the practice field.
You got to pick your side. Do you want to win 10 games to go to the playoffs, or do you want to get those guys seasoned and ready to go for 2026? I mean, you can't have both. Well, maybe you can.
I mean, that's a mix. I mean, that's that mix, and that's why Riley gets paid the money he's getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to figure that out,
or give some of it to us.
That's what he's doing. I think that's the process.
Yeah,
and that's like you said before. We trust the process, and we'll see what happens. But there's nothing wrong with being optimistic.
No, ever, not ever. That's what fans will be fanatic. And you know what? You can even lean into go past positive and go to ridiculous, because that's what makes being a fan. It's fun. It's the off season. Right. You guys are moving NFL rush ends to middle linebacker. So listen, we can do whatever we want, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, guys. All right, but listen, Steve, great first time call, man.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right, thank you. Fight on.
Keep doing a good job.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Fight on.
All right, we're 2 minutes over, Preston, so I apologize for that, but we did a pretty good job. The person who just called in, I'm very sorry. I did promise 1 hour exactly.
No, so take the call, man. Take the call, man. It's okay.
All right, here we go. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, Tim? This is Kristen.
Kristen?
Yeah, what's going on, buddy?
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right, man. Now I was hopping on. I'm stay on topic with the defense. I know you asked that. You got a hard job, man. I've been seeing so much in the chat. I be wanting to touch on the correct, but stay on topic with the defense. How you guys doing? How you doing, Preston?
What's going on, Kristen?
See him leave that 10 to show me up. That Chris 10, see that?
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding.
I'm tapped in on it.
I get it. I get it all the time when I first meet people, work, anything. So that's the best way for me to describe individuals to know the pronunciation. So, but man, I agree. The last caller, he's talking about Gus, and I agree with you, Tim. I had put it in the chat that standing Gus up, I don't think will work because of the speed factor.
Yeah.
I mean, Brandon Shelby is our fastest defensive end, right? And we seen what happened when they try to match him up on a running back coming out the backfield, right, against Utah. Two bombs. So definitely being able to cover tight ends and running backs off the backfield as a linebacker, you'll have to have that type of speed to be able to run. And so I don't think standing him up would be ideal and putting him either inside or stand up outside linebacker.
Yeah, I want to get another Cameron Smith. You know what I mean? That kind of guy, like a stout guy, playmaker that could drop in the coverage. That Utah game where we had like 3 interceptions. You guys remember the game I'm talking about? I was sitting there going nuts in the stands. It's just like, who is this guy? He was a true freshman, I think, in that game. I'm not sure. I think he might have been like a redshirt freshman. I think he was a true freshman. 3 interceptions in that game. Just insane. Yeah, that's really what this team needs. And a couple of people talked about getting that 55. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, heck, pretty soon. I mean, it's been like decades since we've had a 55. So we definitely got to get that guy, that Someone talk about Ray Malaluga, just a freak inside, to move sideline to sideline to hit like a Mack truck. That's what this defense needs. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you will have to, and in order to do that, you gotta have some type of speed. You know what I mean? Like you can't. You're gonna have to be able to run and
change direction. Yeah.
And one thing we have to think about too is that today's football is totally different than it was. Even college football is so different in the Ray days and all those 55 days, right? Now a whole lot of teams are spreading you out, and so you got to be able to run sideline to sideline. So it's no more you can just be the downhill physical linebacker that can hit tackle. You're asked to do a whole lot more. You have to cover in space. You know what I mean? Because everyone's goal is to stretch you out, right, and use speed. So the days of those linebackers are, I hate to say, becoming extinct because you have to be able to run. You have to have speed.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed.
As far as the ceiling on our defense, I have a high expectation coming into next year. If the guys we brought in the portal, especially on the interior, if they are the guys we think they are, if they are the guys that they were at their last school, then our defense should be drastically improved. Like I said, I would like, just for depth, I would like another linebacker too. But even without getting another linebacker, those guys up front and the young guys that we had, the Carlon Jones and all them that we had, Pepe coming back, the depth, we should be able to cause some havoc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We should be able to cause some havoc. And I said the ceiling is high and my expectation is high on the defensive side next year. It's because, let me say my expectation and what I expect. And what I would expect, and even though our first two games are games you would consider, practice games, they're still scholarship players. But what I expect to see is I expect to see negative plays. I don't expect teams this year to be in 2nd and 4, right? Because they ran the ball on first down and they're getting 3 and 4 yards, or 2nd and 5 and standing on 3rd and 1s where they can go for it on 4th down. I'm expecting defensive linemen, the edge, to be able to make tackles behind the line of scrimmage, like teams do us, to get teams behind the chains. I'm expecting pressure. I'm expecting those inside guys to be able to push that pocket and put the center and the guards in the quarterback lap. And that way, the ends, all they got to do is protect the outside, and they run right into
set that edge.
So my expectation, yeah.
Well, they have to. That one thing.
Tim, I mean, cut you off.
No, that's right. I think I cut you off. I'm sorry, but I'm with you because what I'm saying is too many times we saw those ends not be disciplined and not set that edge, and really we got hurt on the outside a lot more than people realize. I mean, we've been glowing about our defense, and I'm not talking about scheme or even player, but sometimes it's just plays and being smart, and being consistent and not giving up, like you're talking about, giving up 6-7 yards on first down because you just can't set the edge. Play should be blown up in the backfield. You should go for 1 or 2 yards, but because they don't set that edge, you're having a safety come over and save the day, and next thing you know, it's like 2nd and 2, 2nd and 1. That's an obvious passing down. They could throw the ball down the field and still get the first down. I mean, so it's keeping the offense, the opposing offense, especially with the way these teams want to grind us, right? That's what they want to do. So if you get them off schedule, these offenses are pretty bad. If you can get them off schedule, they don't have receivers. They don't have dynamic quarterbacks. Get them off schedule and they just can't work. And so that's what I'm hoping this front can do. Like you talk about, a lot of people, one guy's not getting enough love, didn't get enough love last year was Devin Tompkins. I mean, that guy, I think he's have a bigger role than most people think. Again, shiny new toys come in. Let's all talk about these guys. But I really think they're going to bump him, keep him inside, and I think that he's going to be a big player for us. I really, really do. I know he's not as big as some of the guys, but I'm saying situationally and how he can get after it. I'm interested to see what he's going to do making this jump this year too. So keep it on him. I'm telling you guys.
And Tompkins was playing on the edge, and they ended up moving him inside. So he's a naturally, inside guy. So I wouldn't even be surprised that sometimes they even bump him out back to the edge to set that edge, because he has the size and he has the quickness as well. So they might even give a look with that. But just watching film. I watched a couple, games from last season today, just because football is out. So I'll be watching the reruns, especially the ones that we win. So I can't take the losses. I don't want to see that again.
You're a glutton, man.
But I do watch them sometimes.
You're a glutton, Kristen. I don't know how you do it. It's been rough.
A lot of things that I've seen is especially, if you look at that last drive of Texas A&M, we went down and scored, and defense let them go right back down and score with less like 2 minutes. Most of it was on the ground. It was the quarterback, and it was the undisciplined of, your rush lane, right? So all he was doing was just stepping up, taking the pocket. And it was a big hole, and he just took off. In the run game, a lot of the time we were looking at the defensive linemen and saying we need to dig inside. They wasn't getting a push, but it was a stalemate. But linebackers were shooting the wrong gap, And anytime you have linebackers shooting the wrong gap, it's always open up for a cutback or, because the way you play defense is no matter what defense you call, somebody is responsible for each gap. No matter if you're stunting, no matter if you're blitzing, no matter what, sound defense, everyone should have gaps, and you have to keep that gap integrity. And so that's what's going to be interesting as well, especially if we don't get any more linebackers. We have young linebackers. Even if we get in defense, these big defensive linemen, and they're getting the push and they're pushing it back, are we going to have that gap integrity? Or the linebackers are going to shoot the right gap and hold up that gap? Don't overrun the play. And if they do shoot the right gap, there were many times where we were shooting the right gap, we just wasn't making the tackle.
Kristen, you know what the enemy of being gap sound is? Eyeballs.
What's that?
These guys' eyeballs get really big.
Right.
They go for a little bit of eye candy, and they see it. I'm gonna blow this thing up, and the next thing you know, the guy's running for 80 yards the other direction. And I do hear. One thing you hear on the offense side, after every practice, they wanted consistency. That's what they're always. Whatever we heard Henson talking. He was always talking about consistency. On the defense side of the ball, they were talking about we want versatility, like you said, with Devin Tompkins and guys moving along that line. But also you want consistency. And you heard Lincoln Riley talk about the fact that great players aren't the ones that always make great plays. They're the ones that the plays where they screw up aren't that bad. A great player's bad play is not catastrophic. Doesn't have to be. You don't have to get that sack. If you're that guy setting the edge, the ball's not. And you force to play back inside, and you're not even. You don't show up in the stats. You know what I mean? You're that guy. You're not. They may not see you as a great player, but most fans don't know is you may have just saved the game, especially in all the close games that USC was in last year. So yeah, there's a lot of truth to that.
I think a great example of that is that Anthony Lucas wasn't, of course, getting a whole lot of sacks or anything like that, but he protected the edge well, and he was able to get pressure, even though he wasn't bringing it down. And a lot of plays, especially early in the season before we started losing Gentry, before he got injured, our run defense was a lot better because of that. He was setting that edge, making them cut back, slowing up the play blowing it up and he wasn't the one making the tackle, but he was doing his job. And that's a great example of that. But I think our edges are going to have a better year. I just think that now with an actual push, you know what I mean, from the inside, because you want the pocket to collapse. So you want your inside guys to be able to eat up blocks on flash. You want them to be able to at least get a push, right?
We're going to need pressure.
Linemen back to make the quarterback, uncomfortable and for your ends to be able to eat.
Well, we're going to need to get pressure. I think that you made a good point about Anthony Lucas. He seemed like he was always one step away, but he did. He hurried the progressions, or maybe he cut that progression one short. Who knows what that leads to, right? It could be a big, huge play. I think we're going to need to get pressure. We did not do our secondary many favors last year, Preston, with getting
to the quarterback,
pressure, getting to the quarterback. And Covington did a great job. You could only hold that coverage so long. Mm-hmm. And when they're not getting that, and you're relying on these guys to Jalen Smith, who played out of his mind. That's another guy. He's another guy people just don't give enough credit to. And the reason why is those quarterbacks had plenty of time to sit back in a nice, comfortable pocket on many occasions. And we really relied on that secondary to step up, and they did. But again, like we saw in the Penn State game, it's just we're a second too late. And it allows guys to, on those like levels, to get all the way across the field. I mean, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of protection. And a lot of games could have changed if we got a little bit of pressure. But yeah. Really quickly, Petros Priamos, thank you so much, by the way, for the $50 super. Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
Appreciate you all the time. Longtime member, constantly financially supporting the show, and appreciate you being here. Still waiting for you. You called in twice, I think. It's been a while since you called in, so hopefully you could call in soon. But appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for your generosity. That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, someone also, did I lose it? Someone, speaking of which, brought up the Wild Bunch 2. And I mean, are you calling for the Wild Bunch 3? Because that would be great if we somehow, if these guys play like, and then my dad would have to be here, but Jimmy Gunn and I don't know, the original Wild Bunch. It was like Jimmy Gunn and a couple other guys. Sorry, way before my time. That's like the McKay area. I don't know that one, but great comment. Thank you, Robert. Anything else for us, Kristen?
Yeah. The last thing, and I'll let you go. Just going back to what you're saying about the importance that, we need to get that pressure, get teams behind the stick. And if you look, and I would suggest, like everyone in the chat as well, not to go on this tangent, but it'll lead right into it. As far as, again, we played the number 2 toughest schedule in the country this year. I don't know if most USC fans actually realize that.
Number 2?
Not making excuses, but yeah, we had the number 2 toughest schedule in the country. Florida had number 1. And if you look at it, the teams that we played, right, even when we played Minnesota, Michigan, Penn State, Notre Dame, Nebraska, all those teams, if you look at it, they were top 5 defense, either overall or top 5 against the run, or in their top 5 against the pass. So, like, yeah, our offense could have played better. We could run the ball more. But at the same time, if you look what we did against those teams, our offense put up the most points against them than anybody else did, right? We had the only running back go over 100 yards against Penn State on the ground. You know what I'm saying? We've seen what we did against, Notre Dame through the air. But to get back to the defense side, that pressure is important because if you look at the national championship game, not just national championship, because I watch all football, like all day outside of USC too, you know what I'm saying? And if you look at Ohio State, who won the national championship, their cornerbacks they didn't have a cornerback better than Jennifer Cohen. Their cornerbacks had, I don't know how many pass interferences. That was one of their biggest problems, that their cornerback.
It wasn't. I forgot his name. He led the country in penalties, I think, because all the holding and
the long name.
Yeah, number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the long name. But I say that because that tells you, and they won the national championship, so it tells you how much important pressure is and how much important it is to get pressure with your front 4. Ohio State defense was a game record because they can get pressure with just that 4. They didn't have to blitz, and so they would just load teams. And what they did is, they would play a lot of zone and just keep everything in front of them, play tight defense. But they didn't have to blitz because their front 4 can get pressure and negate the run all by themselves. And when you have a front 4 that can do that, and you don't have to blitz all the time, as a defense, you're in good shape.
Or pressure with 3.
Last year
yeah. Or getting pressure with 3 like they did on a couple occasions. Yeah.
It's true. Looking at our defense last year, which is going to be totally changed if these big guys are who we think they are, and they play like they did their last 2, we should have a front like that. Because looking at this season, like I said, I'm watching film, and D'Anton Lynn is calling blitzes, but we're not even getting – the blitzes are not even getting there. Like, we weren't even getting pressure when we blitzed.
Yeah.
A lot of the times. If you're blitzing and still not getting pressure, that's a long night.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's definitely too much to ask on your back end. And so with DJ Harvey, the safety we got from North Carolina State, Ramsey, our defensive backs I feel good about. Whoever they put in at the other corner,
it's gonna be a good battle. It's gonna be a good battle. That's gonna be a good battle at the other cornerback position. I mean, I was talking earlier about the because Roy was here.
It's like three people. It's like 3 or 4 young guys that can play as well.
Yeah, dude,
And
Marcellus
so,
Williams, you guys don't sleep on that young man. He's not the biggest corner, but he hits, dude, and he's tight. Isaiah Rubin from La Salle. I mean, I think he's quick.
Rubin, yeah.
He didn't come in heralded with all the big stars and stuff, but I watched a couple of his games. And I just think there's gonna be but remember, everyone forgets about Braylon Conley too. I mean, I liked his film. I haven't ever seen him play live, but it's gonna be quite a battle trying to lock down, and then Tristan Castro coming a true freshman. I mean, I saw him jump.
Alex Graham.
He's like more of a nickel guy, isn't he? Kind of. I don't know, but the corners are gonna be. Listen, we have them. That's why I was bringing up, you guys. I like our talent, but if we're relying on a bunch of first-time stars, unproven talent, that's a scary world to live in. I'm not saying that it can't be successful. I'm just saying I could really handle a little more veteran depth at a couple positions, and that's one of them. Not that I think that not that I don't think that those guys, one of them, the list we just gave, one of those guys is going to step up, but like we saw this year, you need depth at corner. You need depth at corner. We saw that this year.
And Nicholson has experience. We just got to see if he take the bull by the horns and take that step and lock down that other corner. I mean, he has the experience. He has the
guy got the length. He's got that length. He can't teach. Yeah.
So we just have to see. But I think it's gonna, again, being able to get pressure with 4. Really, my motto on this year was that, man, the defense way better than it was the year before. Can't take that away. We were able to contain the run, but next year I think we'll be able to stop the run. There's a difference, right? Stopping the run means shutting down the run, like when hitting the running back in the backfield when he gets the ball. I expect to see those type of plays next year. Not us giving up 2 and 3 yards of carry, and we're saying we're doing better against the run because last year we were giving up 15, whatever. They were just running straight through us the year before. But this year, I feel like we contained the run. Not against Notre Dame, but for the most part this year we contained the run. Next year the expectation, and I believe we'll be able to do it. We'll be able to actually stop the run.
Yeah,
get pressure.
Yeah, I like it because I think that the young corners, right, or unproven corners, or same to Carlos Nicholson. Gosh, I broke my heart when I thought he was leaving. Then he came back. It's like I was tripping too, or I don't know what it was, but I almost forgot about Nichols. So sorry. So I take it back. We did get our portal veteran portal corner, and it's the Carlos Nicholson. So maybe that does actually make me relax a little bit. I don't know why maybe I'm tripping. I forgot about that part of it. So they're really going. I mean, I do feel I'm very bullish. Like you said about compressing the pocket, right? I mean, people got to realize that if you can make that quarterback uncomfortable, and we are not in a league with great quarterbacks. We're not. These are not great quarterbacks in the Big Ten. I don't care what people tell us. I like the fact that I think we're going to make it difficult for those guys, and the corners won't be on that. Haven't been a proverbial island and trying to cover guys for the guy scrambling around in the scramble drill. That's when your corners start looking silly. Is they're running around for 3 seconds trying to cover a guy when your line can't get to the quarterback. So. Really quick, I want to get to this really quick. Barry Fisher, thank you so much, by the way. Thank you, sir. Also a longtime member of the channel, big-time supporter. Thank you in every way that you support us. Hey, lads, glad to see you back. D will be a full step better, if not elite. And it could be elite if it gels. Yep, see, I agree with you. That's one thing you got to remember as well. We always talk about the offensive line, but, man, you need this unit doing their job, right? Work as a unit, gel together. And as you're talking about, Kristen, that gap, those run fits, that gap integrity that you're talking about, as a unit, this team could be something special. And I believe in this defensive staff. We can't say it enough. Can't say it. So thank you, Barry. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Thank you.
And the last thing, I'll let you go. I know you guys are trying to get out here. Expect, I know a lot of people had issues with how far corners played off this year, but you have to understand football and why. And that, a lot of that had to do with not being able to get pressure, right? Because you don't want to lock your corners up like that. And many times we've seen they couldn't handle that because there was no pressure. The quarterback could sit out there forever. So D'Anton Lynn played them off to make sure everything stays in front. And the model was a bend but don't break defense, right? We'll let you work your way down the field to the 30, and then we'll tighten up, get off on fourth down, or hold you to a field goal. That mentality next year is gonna go away. I would expect to see a lot more aggressive defense because we'll be able to get a pass rush. You can bring those corners up and make sure they can't get the quick 5-yard pass and things like that because they're not going to have that, or they shouldn't, with the line we bringing in, have their time to just sit back there all day and count pennies. And so expect to see corners playing tighter. That's what I would expect to see corners playing up closer, tighter. Expect Ramsey to be more the guy from North Carolina State to play the free safety, and Ramsey to be up around the line more and locked up with tight ends, which is a good thing for us, especially with his tackle ability and physicality. So I think we're going to not see that bend but don't break defense that we had to play, and understanding football and understanding how important the pass rush is and not being able to get a pass rush. You want to play your corners off because if not, the quarterback just got too much time and it's too much. I played cornerback in college. It's too much to ask a corner to guard someone for 7 Mississippis, 8 Mississippis. It's just
4 Mississippi. But yeah, you're right.
Before they play football.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So,
Kristen, great call, man. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You, man.
Good call. I'll forgive you that you only call in. I'll forgive you. You only call in when Preston's here because he knows how to pronounce your name. Because that was a great call.
This is great.
I have my notifications on, but I guess sometimes I just don't get it. So, and I don't know, and then I end up watching later. I'm like, oh, I missed the show. It's just more of a coincidence.
I'm just messing with you. I appreciate you calling in anytime you do. So thank you, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, man.
All right, you guys have a great night.
You too.
All right, bro.
I don't want to freak you out, Preston, but we got up to like 6 phone calls, but it's down to like 2. So again, I'm leaving it to you. People, I'm not taking, no matter what, we're not taking any more calls. But Preston, are we doing 1-minute phone calls?
We got to do 5 minutes.
Okay, 5-minute maximum? Or
yeah.
you keep an eye on the clock.
Yeah. Honestly, I could just get out of here, man. It's not, I don't want to put it on my shoulders, but it is.
No one wants to talk to me.
It is 11:38 at night for me.
Yeah, I know. How about we do 2 quick ones? Sorry. Hey, callers.
Yeah,
listen,
let's not got 2 quick calls, man, or whatever.
All right, let's do that then. All right. Sorry, caller. We're going to make this one brief. I promised him an hour and he's been on here for an hour and a half. So this, if you don't mind, I'll shut up and let you say, unless you got a question for Preston or me, and we'll chime in. But thank you for calling. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Call, you there?
Hello?
Yeah. Hi. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's John from Glendora.
Hey, John.
I called in a couple times.
Yeah, I remember the name.
I'm just at the store real quick. Yeah. Hey, yeah, I'm just wondering about like the Jordan Maeda thing. I just feel like I don't know about you guys, but Preston probably agree with me. I just feel like he's just like he has so many opportunities to run. He's not running this past year. I don't know if it was scared, nervous, afraid to get hit, bigger lead. I don't know, but and then it just feels like he just gets shorter to throw the football. I don't get that. But
the question for Preston, but let me jump in. Let's hit that one real quick. The question's for Preston, but let me jump in really fast. Nothing about that dude shows me he's scared. Nothing. Preston, you want to take that one?
I just think like when we first saw Jaden step into the position, he was playing free, man. He was running around, playing free, kind of just out there, playing the game. And I think as time got on, the having to, read the defenses, having to adjust and, game plan a little bit more and notice more things on the field. He's just kind of have to balance that, backyard football mentality with being a solid, consistent, precise, good quarterback. So we've seen it up and down. We've seen him more loose and we've seen him more tight. So I think that's really what I'm looking forward to see him improve on this offseason as we come in the next fall.
Got one more quick one for us?
Yeah, no, I'll let you guys go for the night. I know it's been pretty late. It's late for me. So, I mean, I'm on the West Coast, but you guys are probably on the East Coast. So, all right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call. All right. Last call of the night. Wow. We went from no phone calls to rubber banding to 6. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm calling from Humble. Did you hear anything I said? I thought I was on the air. Nonetheless, can you hear me now?
I do. You got a name for us?
Yeah. I can't hear you. I'm Tom from Humble. I love your program, and I was disappointed that you're considering wrapping it up. I think one of my problems is I don't know exactly when you're going to be on the air. During the
Valid
season,
point.
It bounced around, and so I kind of lost track. So if you maybe put a advertisement or a caption down there saying the next episode is that, you might keep your fans on tab, or or on alert that, okay, it's time to call. Now, as far as our quarterbacks, Caleb Williams could make up for a lot of offensive lines problems. I think any of those quarterbacks we have, if we have a good offensive line, are going to be superb. They all have talent. Mayava sometimes panics and things like that, but without the pressure, I think he'd be epic with that arm of his. I think it all depends on the offensive line. With the defense, there's so many options that showed up last year that they got to be able to find pressure people amongst that group, and they'll be able to find run stoppers within that group. The other guys were undersized, and instead of running around them like the philosophy was with Grinch, they were trying to run through them, but they didn't have probably the force or to penetrate afterwards. That's my impression. So I don't know if it's accurate or not, but I think we're going to be a better season, because I think the average run is not going to be 4.2. It's going to be considerably less with those big bodies.
Ooh, I let everyone get out of here tonight. One thing, so I had one job to do, and that was to ask everyone, what do they think the average points per game will be? I don't remember what happened. Did we keep it down to around 22 by the end of the season? That was my prediction at the beginning of the year. But I think we gave up a lot of points last couple of games.
24, but I'm not sure.
We gave up a lot of points at the end of the season.
24.
Was it 24? Does that include the bowl game?
24. I didn't do the math. But it was about 10 points less than the year before, and that's incredible progress for an undersized line. And when we lost Rakes and we lost Bear Alexander, we lost a big bunch of that push. Rakes apparently had a good season at Auburn.
Pretty good, yeah.
I don't know what the ratings mean, but 71.7 or something like that, which is,
it's a pro grade.
Gavin Myers, as heroic as he was just a tick under that, and then the others weren't nearly that way. So if we'd have had those two defectors, even though I heard Bear Alexander wasn't his work ethic kind of rankled a few people, but if we'd have had those guys in the middle, I think the edge rushers would have had the freedom to kind of abandon the lane a little bit more and go after the quarterbacks.
Well, and also just that rotation, having them in there, and then Dejon Benton, who also, Dejon Benton.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, we lost him. So we lost pieces, that weren't going to set the world on fire. Bear Alexander, like you said, he has all the ability in the world. It's just what's going on between his ears is probably what the main issue is. I don't know, Preston, but we could have used them just for rotational purposes alone. I mean, we had leads in the fourth quarter of every game except one, and there's a reason for that. We got tired. or we were thin. And if you're not rotating throughout the season, if you're not rotating throughout a game, you're going to get gassed in the fourth quarter, and people are going to take advantage of that. And I think we saw a lot of that. Yeah.
Those last second losses, Riley, well, at least to Michigan, he put in Bear Alexander. He thought he had the faith that gave him the best chance. And if you have a big body like Rakes that apparently did well with a better than average Auburn team, he probably would have. Those two probably would have accounted for 2 more victories at least, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right on spot on with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But advertise the times you're on, for the fans, because then we can join you and we can keep this going.
Yeah, so maybe I'll talk to Preston, and maybe we could do like because I know also Paulie Walnuts, he wants to get on in the action too. So maybe we could do like a panel. Like I'll talk to these guys. I would love to work with both of them on the same panel, and I can kick back and just ask them questions. That'd be great. I'm talking all day in class. It'd be really nice to let them talk, and I could just sit back and moderate. That would be something. But yeah, I will do that, John. And I do apologize.
Your guys' interaction with the fans is probably second to none in my book. So I hope you carry on, fight on, I guess is the term. So
fight on, John. Thank you, man.
I'll talk to you soon.
I hope so. Looking forward to it. Great call. Great call, John. Yeah, I know that's on me, you guys. I mean, I know that it's been all over the place, but I've got to tell you, it's again, I started up a new teaching gig this year, and that kind of put some curveballs and things. Preston has one of the fastest growing YouTube channels in our space. You can check that out. So he's got his own schedule he's working with. He's been sick. So sometimes it's kind of hard. Life kind of gets in the balance, and it gets in the way of a schedule, but we do it out to you guys. So I think I'll talk to Preston, see when he's available, and I'll try to nail down a schedule for you guys in the off season. And we'll try to stick to it. Yeah, it's kind of hard to build a show when you're on Sunday nights, then you're on Monday nights, then you're on Saturday nights, then you're on Friday nights. So I get you. I did get you. But Preston, again, thank you for rallying. Preston, you got to hold Preston your prayers, because he's got some crazy weather down there in South Florida. It's just driving his immune system crazy. So keep him in your thoughts, you guys.
Please.
At least he's young, right? It's not going to hit him as hard. But that flu, you said, no joke.
Bro, a new flu is no joke, man. Be very aware. Very aware.
Well, thank you to everybody, but special thanks to Roy Banuelos, Barry Fisher, and Petros Piamos. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being members, and thank you for your super chats. Thank you to Steve and Kristen, John, and Tom. Thank you guys so much for calling in. Thank you to you guys, the listeners. You guys have plenty of options on a night like this. Although I'll tell you what, I think I might just go on to just YouTube, because we got a lot of people on Twitter, but we're trying to grow this YouTube channel. So if you guys could do us a favor, if you're still here, go ahead, please, and subscribe to the channel. We're 16 away from 6,000. That would be a really big thank you if you guys get us to 6,000 tonight. That's awesome. Thank you guys all for being here. Again, great news at USC. I think this defense is going to be elite. Make sure you check it out, Preston, over at Preston's Paradise. If not daily, almost daily videos. He's going to pump it up, right?
Yeah, every 2 to 3 days. I try to keep it every 2 days, but yeah, usually every 2 to 3 days, putting out some content.
This is great stuff. Go over and go binge that right now. All right, thank you guys for being here. Look for us sometime, maybe Thursday. We'll see. Appreciate it. Fight on, you guys.
Fight on.